Mōrena tamaria kia koutou e te whānau, tēnā no koutou, koutou kua hono mai I tēnei ata me ki te rā 29 o te marama o Mahuru Hepetema, rā apa te Wenerei. Nō reira, nau mai anō ki tō tātou nei kaupapa Kāinga Kōhanga Reo. E toro atu nei mai tōku nākau ki tō nākau mai tōku Kāinga ki tō Kāinga, o tirā e ranona hi ai tō tātou nei reo, a I roto iwa tātou nei whare. Nō reira e mihina kia koutou, me nā āhuatana o tēnei wā. Nō reira kia inui tātou. Tērā ia te mātou rana te pakaru mai nei hururu tau, hururu matua, hururu tawhito ki enei pūkina ki enei wānanga. Kia ake ai te tohina nuku, te tohina rani, ki te wai o tua, ki te wai whakaika, ki te wai ki te enei whānau, a ki enei ākona, a ki enei mokopuna. He wai tapu, he wai nui, he wai ora oi, he pipi ka wawā, ka purotu, ka manunu, ki te moko pū tuarararani. He ariki, he tipua, ka puta ki te whaiau, ka puta ki te ao marama, tūturu whakamaua ki a tīna, tīna haumi e hui e, tāi ki e. Nō reire, mihi tonu na ki a koutou, o tira rātou, kua naro I te tirohana kanohi. A tēnei tuni tātou e tani hutu nei ki a rātou. Anō reire, kua rono tātou, kua ahua whakamāma, whakanāwarihia, nā aukati, nā pākati, ki te rohe o tāmaki, engari kia tūpato tonu te haere e te whānau. Me te rono anō I nā kōrero, e kaha ana tātou kia wirohia tātou. Nō reira, he mea pai tērā I te whirai, nā tātou, o tō tātou nei motu, ki te huna hiahia ana ki te hoki mai, o tira e tā anō e tātou te whakahaere I wā tātou nei kaupapa, pēnei te matatini, pēnei te hoki ki te Kōhanga Reo, kia tuwhera mai anō wā tātou nei kura, kia pai ai te whānau I wā tātou nei tamariki, ki nā mātaurana nā mōhiotana o tēnei ao kiko. Nō reira, I runga I tērā whakaaro, tēnei mea te mātaurana, he mea nui. He mea nui, kia mōhio te tanata ko wai ia no hea ia, e ahu ana ia ki hea. Nō reira, kine pia ka tīmata tērā āhuatana a mai te Kōhanga Reo, ka takahi tonu I te huarahi ki te kura tuatahi ki te wharekura, o tira tērā pia ka waimari, ka tai koe ki te whare wānana. Nō reira, e te whānau tō tātou nei manuhiri, tō tātou nei kai kōrero I tēnei ata, he wahine kua roa nei I roto I nā mahi mātaurana. Tīmata mai hoki I roto I te Kōhanga Reo, nō reira, no tātou tēnei tuahine o tātou, he wahine, ai. Ka whai tonu ia nā mahi I o nā tapu ai, ko tētahi o nā kaupapa tino hira, ko te oho mairani, he kaupapa he manaki he take anō I wā tātou nei tamariki, wā tātou tamariki taikaha, o tira, kei roto ia I te whare wānana o Awanuiarangi I tēnei wā, e ārahi ana I te taha, ki te whakawhanauna ki nā iwi taketake o te ao. Nō reira, e te iwi mihi mai ki tēnei wā tātou nei whaia, ki tēnei o wā tātou nei Pou, kia Mera, Penehira. Atamari e Mera.
Mōrena, atamari e te whānau. Kia ora rā.
Tēnā rawa atu koe. Tēnā rawa atu koe I whakawātea mai I a koe, ki te tūhono mai ki a tātou I tēnei ata, me te ātāhua o te rani ki waho, o tira ko tāua tērā noho ana ki tāmaki makaurau. Kine pia ka waiho pia he wāhana paku nei ki a koe ki te mihi atu ki te iwi, o tira ki te whakamōhio, ma aukupu anō, ko wai hoki koe, no hea hoki koe. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Tēnā koe tahuri, o tira tēnā tātou, tēnā koutou, kia koutou e mātakitaki mai nā. Kia mōhio mai, he uri tēnei no Ngāti Raukawa ki otaki no rangitāne no Ngaitirangi hoki, ko Mera, Penehira tōku ingoa. Nā reira ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa. Anō nei ko au tētahi o ngā māma o te kura kaupapa Māori o Hwani Waititi Marae. Atu I tēnā, ai kua kōrerohia e papatahuri, he kaimahi hoki a hau ki te whare wānanga o Awanuiarangi. He hātu. Ai, ko au tēnei, ko taku tīmatanga mai I roto I te ao mātauranga, e kaiako a hau I roto I ngā Kōhanga Reo, mō ngā tau pia āhua te koutou, I mahi o I roto I ngā Kōhanga Reo o Taranaki. Tātahi, ka nuku mai au ki tāmaki makaurau nei, ka uru au ki roto i ngā mahi mātauranga mō ngā tamariki haua me ki. Nā reira, tēnā koutou, kia tātou.
Ka pai, mihi nā kia koe whāmera. A me ki, kua hua tata ki te ono wiki tēnei kaupapa Kāinga Kōhanga Reo e pāho ana ki o tātai nei whānau, i te wā o te raka, ki te whakawhanau nā no kia tātai. Anō reira, kua hoki te motu ki te taumata rua, o huiti tuarua, ko tātou a tāmaki here noho tonu nei ki o tātai nei Kāinga. Nō reira, te tīmatana tō tātai kaupa, e hia mano, i te hono mai, engari kua to ahua toko iti haere, te huna mā taketake, nō reira e mihi tonu nei kia koutou. Engari, whaamera, kua kapai, kei te kimo mai tō rorohiko. Ma hoi anō, kua ki te tātou i te ahua o ngā mahi tōrana pui nai nei. Nō reira, e whakaaro ana ki tērā ahua. Kei reira nā tākuta, tā tākuta e ki ana, me ū tonu, me mai tonu tātou kia werohia tātou, me tūpato tonu tō tātou nei haere. Engari kei te ki mai, kua puta hoki e tahi ana kōra John Key, e tahi atu te rōpū nā hinara pia kia tuwhirahia nā tatau, e harawe nei mahi i te pai mo nā mahi oha ne, e harawe nei mahi kia raka tātou mo nā mahi moni. Nō reira, ki o nei whakaaro, e pēhi ana te haere o Aotearoa, i roto i wā tātou nei mahi ki te ārai atu i te COVID, ki te patu i te COVID, me te ahua no ki ana i tātou te iwi Māori. What's your, kina pēr ki ahua reo rua, kei ako i te tikana. What's your kind of take on how Aotearoa has dealt with COVID and how has Māori responded to COVID?
Kia nei kia, kua te roa, kua noho, haumaru, kua noho raka, tā tātou o tāmaki makaurau nei. Me te hiha ki tērā, ruaua te noho ki te kāinga, moi nei rā e nei, ki e hia nei. Engari, kua mai mari e tātou. You know, I am working daily with students in Hawaii and Washington State, and I am constantly reminded when I work with them and understand the context that they're in, how extremely lucky we are to be where we are and to be protected in the way that we are. Nā reira, ko tāku, kia kaha tātou ki te whai i ngā ture, me ki, i ngā kaitiakitanga, kia noho haumaru tātou, kia noho haumaru tonu. I have been really concerned at the lack of uptake in terms of vaccinations for Māori and Pacifica, but I also understand why, you know. I understand that, you know, mai rā no, kua kore ngā kāwanatanga e kaha tautoko ana, e kaha whai rautaki hei tiaki i a tātou te iwi Māori. So we know that successive governments and Ministry of Health strategies have not served Māori well, right? So why would we expect Māori and Pacifica whānau to now trust in government and Ministry of Health strategies in terms of COVID-19? Why would we be trusting and why would we be doing what they're saying? And so I think as we talked about the other week when we were in a kōrero on Facebook Live with Dr. Lily Fraser, it's really not about asking people to trust in the government strategy at the moment. It's not even about asking people, our people, to trust in Ministry of Health directives. It is about explaining to people and asking our people to trust in the many tākuta Māori kei muri oe nei rautaki. So there has been considerable advice given from the likes of Dr. Lily Fraser, Mātiri Harwood, and there were many others. And those are the ones that I trust in personally. And because of their expertise and what they've been saying, ko wirohia mātou o tō mātou kāinga o tō mātou whare. Koina tātui tēnei wā.
Ka pai, and just to give a bit of context to your own situation, Mera, and I know you've said this before on other platforms, but just for our Kōhanga Reo, tōku whiro, you've been, you haven't been a fan of vaccinations. So tell us, how did you, and we, I don't want to kind of, kona mai ui kei a tātou tamariki no rātou anō, koe rā kōrero, hoi no, it wasn't an easy decision, I suppose. It wasn't an easy decision to vaccinate. So how did you step through that process? Kia taupua ki tētahi wāhi pai, and mauri tau ai tō nākau that you are making the right decision for yourself and your kōtiro tuatahi.
Kia ora, Papa Tahuri. Yeah, you're right. My baby's now 16, she turned 17 next week. So, 17 years ago, we were blessed with our little Pepe, and considering everything that every new mama and papa whānau of our Pepe consider, and in amongst that was to vaccinate or not. And I've done lots of research because I am a researcher, and to be honest, I saw some things that concerned me around vaccinations, but it was actually limited. When I did the wete o ngā kōrero, what I found was it was really limited to that triple vaccine. So I decided we decided when our baby was small that we wouldn't vaccinate. We followed the route of rongoa Māori, and that included, rongoa and karakia and healthy kai and healthy sleeping and trying to de-stress and trying to have this perfect little life. And it worked for a while, and it was awesome. And then at around 3 or 4 years of age, our girl was diagnosed with chronic lung disease as well as common immune variable deficiency. And so those things didn't actually have a really good outlook, and we were like, what do we do? And the doctors were insistent around vaccination. So we weighed everything up, and we tried doing everything in an alternative way with rongoa and so on, as I've just mentioned. At the end of the day, that wasn't enough, and so we did shift to vaccinations, but we did it in a really measured way, and our GPs allowed us to do that in a spaced out way, so that it meant that we felt safer and we mitigated the risks that I'd become aware of when I'd done my own research. And when I say research, I mean research. It was looking at the bona fide kind of medical research and educational research, not just searching it up on Google, right? So let's be wary of what we call research and what is bona fide. But end of the day, that's brought us to where we are now with COVID-19, and it was a really easy call for me to make for our whānau that we needed to be vaccinated. Easy because, my girl's immunocompromised, so I am really concerned that it's not a decision about me protecting myself. It's a decision about what we do to protect those who are most vulnerable in our whānau hapu and iwi. So, koina, kua huri, kua wirohia mātou, o te katoa tērā.
Ka pai, and tēnā koe mō tērā kōrero. I think it's a really important kōrero that we need to share with our whānau who are still rangirua, in two minds about me wero, me aha rānei. And ki te tātou, more of the younger, the 12 to 19-year-olds, there's been a great uptake from them. About 60% of them have 69 kei tērā takiwā. So that looks really good for our kura, our kids in our kura, that our whare kura I'm talking about. And they're coming up with a vaccine for those under 12. Nō reira, everything's moving that way, and we have been commended But I just trying to, for Māori, and from looking at what your perspective, how have we performed, and you think that we have, who is that? There's a group that are the hard nuts that karera te hia ki te whakarono, and how do we crack into that? We've got like iwi leaders coming out saying, we've got the kini tana and the ariki, the whare ariki going, me wero he tātou. We've got, our own health ratona hauara that are kind of reaching out. We've got our kura that are setting up their own vaccinations, pera ia tātou waititi. So, but there's still that hardcore group. How do we break? Because that's the group that we worry about. It only takes one. How do you think we could break through that break through to them, to actually reach out to them, to do a decision that's right for everyone?
Yeah, so I think it is about looking at what is that hardcore group who are still anti or who are still resisting vaccinations. What are they saying? And there's a number of things, and I think those things are questions that are worthy to be asked, and they're questions that we need to start answering. And as I've kind of alluded to, some of it sits with the politics, right? And so part of what some people who are resisting are saying is, kei au tōku ake mana motuhaki, kei au tōku ake rangatiratanga. And I think that's a really valid response, but I think in this instance we need to look backwards to move forward, as we always say. But it's true, if we look back to, really, what have our tupuna said to us about rangatiratanga, about mana motuhaki? And it is that it's not about yourself, it's about making the best decision for the collective. Rangatiratanga, right? Te raranga o te tira. How do we pull together to make the best decisions collectively? It's not about what Mera wants for Mera. It's not about what Tahuri wants for Tahuri. It's about how we protect the most vulnerable. So in my view, true rangatiratanga and mana motuhaki is about making decisions that are best for everybody. The other thing which I've already kind of talked about was people's mistrust in government and in Ministry of Health initiatives. So kia pono tātou, kia tātou ake pukinga, kia tātou ake tohunga. So believe and trust in our own doctors and what they're saying, and they are behind this 100% as far as I can see. But finally, I think people have kind of gone, we should just be doing rongoa Māori and, kei a tātou ki te mōhiotanga kia tiaki a tātou. And I agree that we have incredible expertise in terms of protecting ourselves with our own rongoa, with our own everything that is Māori. But this is not a Māori Māwiwi, eh? This disease comes, it's a new disease. It's a Western disease. It's something that's come about post the rongoa Māori expertise that we hold. And so we need to add to our expertise. So the vaccine is one really critical part of protecting ourselves. The rest of it is what we already know and or what we need to pick up on and get better at, speaking for myself. And that's around knowing and continuing to practice our own karakia, tūturuake. Knowing and continuing to eat good kai. That doesn't mean expensive kai. That means when you're out on your hikoi each day, which you should be doing because that's part of protecting ourselves and keeping ourselves well, pick up that puha, find that watercress, go home, make a boil up. It's not costly, and we all know that. It's also about just the general basics. Try and keep with our routines of having good sleep, getting up each day, caring for ourselves in the same way as we would if we were walking out the door. And I'm speaking particularly now to us in Tāmaki who are still locked down in our whare. It's really easy for us just to forget about caring for ourselves and wear our pajamas all day and kei te pai tērā I roto i ngā rā whakatā, ngā weekend nei. But during the week, let's try and stick to some good, good routines that see us getting up, caring for ourselves, how we look, how we feel. Make sure we get good sleep. Make sure we eat good kai when we can, and reach out to each other, because this time is stressful, and there's no shame in feeling that stress, and there's no shame in reaching out to our mates, video call, whatever, to just make ourselves feel better and up. Yeah.
Rawe wera kōrero whae Mera, and I'm just from your kōrero, you know, it's misinformation, mistrust, and a misplaced sense of rangatiratanga was kind of the key kōrero that came out. And we know these things, and we were fortunate enough the other week to have Tata Mataroria Linden, who has been appointed to the Māori Health Authority. So, you know, changes afoot, e te whānau, changes afoot. And I'm glad how we've moved on to this being Mental Wellness Week.
True.
Mental Awareness Week. And I know you kind of worked in this place, and we can, you know, as Tāmaki, we have a sense that people are getting hoha. We have a sense of that people are starting just a bit relax themselves and starting to push out a little bit, push out the little bubbles and the little boundaries that they've managed to maintain. So how do you know, in terms of mental wellness, we've had whānau had a really stressful time, and I know you've talked about kai, I know you've talked about sleeping well, I know you've exercise, but some of our whānau are in really tough. Nara kumara riwai Māori puha, absolutely. Anei tētahi o nā Kainaku Desiree Jonene. Hoi, me hena kia koe mo tērā koro ai tika wā tātou kai. Awesome if you can grow it yourself. So what are the, you know, for whānau that are kind of, you know, back to that hard to get people, eh? Those hard to get people. How do we, I mean, I went over and dropped off a kai to a whānau I don't know, but I was told by our iwi and Tūhoi that they lived there, and we took one parcel, and then just took another parcel, because I saw they had kids. I heard kids' voices in the house, in the whare, so, you know, I worry for them. So how do we kind of like just maybe up the ante, because it's been a long stretch, about 6 weeks, longest ever. What are the other avenues that we can kind of use to de-stress our mental wellness, living in the moment? Should we live in the moment and not worry about the future too much, or appreciate what we have in front of us? I don't know.
I think we do have to live in the moment, because we don't know what we're planning in the future that might be cancelled, and I think there's something to be really aware of with our rangatahi. You know, you and I have both got kids in year 13 at the moment. They've already had their, you know, the biggest event actually of our wharekura has had to be postponed, and we dearly hope it will be cancelled, and that is, you know, the end of kura trip. But these kids have had multiple cancellations, and so have we as adults, but I tend to think we're all right. It's I think we do need to look out for our kids and go, what can we plan that's going to happen today, and make sure that happens today, and be present for that. Because when we're making plans for in the future, our kids actually have a lack of faith at the moment that any of it's going to carry on, and or they're figuring out ways that they can get around the rules of lockdown in order to carry those out, and that's not going to be healthy for anyone. So I don't know, I think you're right. Live in the moment. Reach out to mates and say, man, I'm going stir crazy. I need to have let's have a hard case messenger call tonight with our whānau, and, you know, and you might have a dress up theme or whatever. These are things that don't have to cost anything, but they do rely on us being internet connected. So I recognise not everyone's got that. I think tapping into the sources that our Kōhanga Reo and Kura have already tapped into on our behalf. And that's for things like, you know, the simple things like kai packages and all of that. But what is it that will reduce our anxiety and stress? And it is taking care of the day-to-day things, so that when when things get really difficult, if we're kind of well fed and well slept, and we've gone out and done some exercise, we're just going to feel better about dealing with the hard stuff. It sounds kind of glib, I know, but it certainly helps me. And for those of us who are used to being on the water every day, paddling, being off the water for 48 to 50 days or whatever it is now, can really send us round the bend, kind of surprisingly, perhaps. So you've got to find alternatives. If your usual thing is being on the water, get out there and beat the feet. If your usual thing is going and visiting another whānau, get on the messenger and do it that way. So we just have to get creative. And also, I love what you said, Tahuri. Whenever we hear about whānau that are in need, we just got to step out and reach out. And help people.
Yeah, I mean, I got busted as I was leaving the house, because I'm more here whakama, kei whakama. I don't ever want to, and we're quite proud Māori. I don't know, probably unnecessarily proud, but nevertheless, kei reira tērā āhua. So, I got busted as I left the coins. Can I help you? Oh, I just left the parcel on your, cup. Oh, thank you much. Oh, you're the guy that came before. Oh, yeah. But there was, so that tira, and it's we're lucky here in Taranaki Te Whānau that we have so many rōpū and agencies that are set up. They understand we don't have a big paddock like you fellas, or a forest we can go and walk up to all the time. And when you walk out of your door, there's like 1 million people there outside your front doorstep. So we don't have those real private areas I know we can go to. But I was talking to tētahi waku hoa, and the wahine, Taku was talking on the wahines, they talk, right? And man, one of them just said I just want to punch my husband in the face. I'm just over this. I just want to, oh my gosh, like someone who's usually very, very low key, very placid, all of a sudden they're talking about, mind you, they do have like 5 kids, so I suppose it can drive you nuts. But just having someone else to unload that and them having a laugh about it.
Yeah.
And my wahine are kind of, you laugh like nervous laugh, not a real laugh, because actually they might have laughed. Well, it's just that kind of being able to blow off without being judged.
Yeah.
Being able to say things like, if you say I want to, it doesn't mean I don't love you any less. It's just I'm having a bad day. Kind of thing. This is where I'm at. I'm hoping I'll get over it, but just expression of our true feelings. And I know that we've gotten better over time. Back in the days, it probably wasn't so much a done thing to love and cuddle and all of that, and all after your kids and all of those kind of things. But now, Ngāwari haere, and and it is. That's why I suppose I worry for our tamariki, because we can't make real plans. Therefore, why should I even get up? Why even bother? Why should I do my schoolwork? Oh, we got no exam. It's been deferred. So that it's hard to find that motivation to keep telling them why. And find, and I think this is, because this is taking up a lot of headspace at the moment, is finding your why for everything you do. So, do you have any kura around, like people who can't do it for themselves, do it for your whānau? Kids who don't want to get up. Someone's got to pay the bill. When I get old, you'll be paying the bill for this COVID. Country's running itself into debt, so you need a good mahi to pay for this. And, we've got a lack of nurses, we've got a lack of doctors, we've got a lack of kaiako. Mainstream is going to swallow up all our reo Māori teachers. So there's a lot of mahi to be done to rebuild the iwi, rebuild our Aotearoa. Sounds a bit grim, but what are your kind of reflections on people, just to keep the momentum and moving in the right direction?
Yeah. I think there's a few things, like one of the things that I did in the first lockdown was really totally relax and not worry about device time with my girl, right? Because what I could see was that device time was what was keeping her connected to her mates. Now I can say, get up, have a shower, get up, do your workout, have a shower, that kind of thing. That's going to have pretty much next to zero impact compared to when Ngārangi, for example, says, hey, Turi, you done your workout yet? Boom, she'll be doing it. So my thing is let our kids connect in a way that they can support each other to do what keeps them real, keeps them who they are, and keeps them connecting in a way that, just keeps them well, really. I do think plan for today. So like I think every night before I go to bed, I think, okay, what's one thing cool that I can do that that might be a bit of an up for my girl tomorrow? Like what's that one thing? And then we've got to bounce that up with whatever else might be needed if we can. These are not things that are costing money, things that I can think of, like, she gonna do my eyebrows tonight? That'll be fun. Or are she gonna do my makeup? Or are we gonna do a shared workout? Probably not likely, but you know, it depends on the age of your kids what you can get going to keep you well.
Ka pai. Well, I suppose in our whānau, the first couple of weeks were rubbish, absolute rubbish. And then it actually took a little while for them to find their own
rhythm,
bottom line. So they grabbed themselves up by their boots and picked themselves up. So, you know, we just had to weather that little rough patch at the beginning and find our groove. And once we got into our groove, and it's, you know, and Kai and things like that, it just helps smooth that transition. And those are the things, and it's nothing that hasn't been said before, but I think, like we said, we just got to reinforce those messages so that the information is consistent. Having consistent messaging is important. Well, I just wanted to talk on a little kaupapa, and I'm holding up your really big kei te nui o mahi. Oho mai rani, just give us a little kōra about your mahi I roto I tērā kaupapa a tāhua mo te huna wa tātou tamariki taikaha.
Okay, yeah, so Oho Mairangi is it's actually the only kaupapa Māori-based early intervention service in Aotearoa that we began, that's external to the Ministry of Education, so it's an independent early intervention special education provider. We're based in South Auckland. We began Oho Mairangi more than 20 years ago now. And basically we work with tamariki and their whānau who have a range of different special educational needs, autism, cerebral palsy, vision, hearing, speech difficulties, behaviour difficulties, and work with whānau in their own homes and kids in their early childhood centres and so on, and support their transition into kura as well. But yeah, it came about, it was an initiative that a number of us who were working in special education at the time in the Ministry of Education, we saw that for us, the provisions, the work that we were able to do in Ministry of Education didn't quite cut it for our whānau, and we wanted to be able to get out of that environment at the time in order that we could fully develop kaupapa Māori early intervention services. And so, yeah, that's what we did. They're still going, based in South Auckland, but with people that cover all areas of Auckland. So we have speech language therapists, educational psychologists, early intervention teachers, and we work with physio and occupational therapists who are external to our team but who connect with us. I'm on the board at the moment. I'm not practicing in that area anymore, but yeah, really important to be able to go into places like Kōhanga Reo and have a speech language therapist that can kōrero Māori, have an early intervention teacher that can work with whānau and kids I roto I te reo. So, yeah, that's the mahi, and they're online, so you can look up Awanuiarangi. If you search that Awanuiarangi early intervention, you'll come up with it. Yeah.
Tēnā koe. Well, we've had a couple of whānau come on board on this kaupapa kōrero, and yeah, they've shared their experience, and you know, raroha kia rātou, they've found their niche, I suppose. They've built a community around their tamaiti, a community of people who are on board with the kaupapa. In your 20 years of experience, I suppose, what is the biggest barrier, or what is the greatest need for our tamariki, or for our whānau who have tamariki taikaha, tamariki, or tamariki haua?
I think it's really important that we recognise how colonised, if you like, we are in our thinking around tamariki haua, around special education. I think it's really important that we build better understanding of how tamariki haua were understood and treated and revered pre-colonisation. So I think it's good to remember that and own that and try and bring that into where we are today. That's one thing. Second thing, I think there are huge challenges in getting proper funding to properly support our kids to be fully included in our Kōhanga Reo and Kura. But I know that in our experience at Hoani Waititi, our premises, you know, it's a member of our whānau. Well, of course they're going to come here, and then we try and figure out the hard stuff of the funding, of the whatever. Puahiu tērā. Yeah, so I mean, our premises, and this is what I want every Kōhanga Reo and Kura to come to if they're not there already. Yes, of course, you're a member of our whānau, we've got to provide, and then we've got to do the hard yards in the background to figure out that funding, to figure out whatever safety things we need to put in place. And beyond that, it's, you know, those of us who have fought for Kōhanga Reo and for Kura Kaupapa Māori, we know that it's our absolute right to have adequate and more than adequate, have excellent education and excellence in te reo Māori. And that too is the right of our tamariki haua. I think that's really important that every kura and every Kōhanga Reo take that on board. And every blimmin' English medium institution needs to take that on board as well. It's not, Kōhanga Reo's for just our normal kids, or Kura's just for our normal kids, but it's really too hard for us to take care of those with additional needs. Well, it can't be, because our reo is not just the right of typically developing kids, it's the right of every single one of our whānau. So yeah, koina mua.
Ka pai e taku hoa, e whae mera tēnā rawa atu koe. Tēnā rawa atu koe mō wēnei kōrero ātāhua, i nei aki, ki wā tātou nei whānau, me taku whakapāhātua no kia koe, kia huri koe ki te reo Pākehā. Engari, I think it's really important that our whānau have understanding. So this is a time for us to wānana, to discuss, to evaluate, in order to make good decisions for ourselves and our whānau. Nō reira, e mihi ana kia koe. I know you got some mahi to do, and I know you're growing future doctors, maybe not to cure my broken arm or anything, but he mea nui te mātauranga, he mea nui te kōrero, and e mōhi ai koe, keihia koe e haere ana, and to provide that confidence. And yet we are, you talked about the water just for a sec. Yep, we do have we're online with our babies doing our little tabata exercises, and it's been, they're hoha, but they feel better after the training. So we're sitting in our chairs, you know, paddling like, you know, on our chairs. So, you know, I mean, so I look forward to the time that we can all hui back on our way and be back at our karapu. I might just give a little, if you got any message or last koro that you would like to say to our whānau, a ka tukuna he wā kia koe, and a ka tukuna koe kia haere. Nō reira, tēnā koe, a whae Mera.
Tēnā koe. You know, kei te mihi kia koutou katoa e kawe tonu ana i ngā mahi a koe mā koroma, i roto i tō tātou reo, i roto i o tātou Kōhanga Reo, kura kaupapa Māori, whare kura hoki. Nā reira, tēnei tāku, mihi noa kia koutou ngā kaiako, ngā mātua e whakahaere tonu ana i te mahi Kōhanga Reo, mahi kura mō tātou tamariki moko puna. Tēnā koutou katoa, haere ki te wirohia, go get your vaccinations. Koina noa.
Ka pai no re te mārei kura, tēnā rawa te koe whae Mera e taku hoa. Kia pai te rani, kia teina mana ki tana ki unua i a koutou, kia kōrua, kia pai nā mahi katoa mō tēnei rā. Tēnā rawa te koe. Ka pai.
Kia ora tahure.
Tēnā koe. Anō re te iwi tō tātou waimari. Tō tātou waimari ki tērā o a tātou nei wahine toa. Tētahi o a tātou nei puhi wahine e kaha nei ki te āwhina, ki te kōrero, ki te tautoko, ki te hāpai, i a nai tātou te iwi Māori, ahakoa kei tehia reana. Moko puna mai, pakeke mai, te reira whae Mera. Me te mea no he wama, kaue e pōhehe ki tana āhua, ki tana nākau maha ki tana kōrero nāwari. He whawhai nui kei roto i tērā wahine no reira, e mihi ana ki aia, e mihi ana ki ana mahi katoa, hei ora nā mō tātou. No reira, e te whānau kua tai tātou pia ki tētahi wā kuri tinana, te hara māku e mahi, hoi no, te hara koe te tiki tahi tī rākau pia, he tī rākau, ne? Tī rākau, nei tētahi o atu o nā waiato tō tātou nei kuia, ne ni kui ni moi hau, me te haka, patu pai arehe, mā taketake mai.
Nā, ko te patu pai arehe i āta titohia tēnā mō te hui nui tuatahi a te Kōhanga Reo i tū ki tūranga waiwai. I tūranga waiwai, i whakaarohia tēnā kaupapa mō reira. Hei whakaata, hei whakapūata mai te ao Māori. Koina. Engari, ko te moe a i roto i taua mea, he paki waitara anō tēnā. He paki waitara mo tētahi mokopuna i ngaro. Ka haere te tipuna ki te rapa, haere kini haere, ka kite ai tana te maiti, tana mokopuna e moe ana i tētahi awa. I taua awa rā he wairere. E moe ana te mokopuna nei, i te paira wātu, i te ora tonu, engari te wā i ngaro te mokopuna rāna, i ahua pōnā nā rātau kua mateke. E hea nei te roa o te wā e kini ana rātau ke kitea. Nā, i roto i taua moe a, e rere ana te pākura, he uenuku. I runga i te wai, he wairere tonu e rere ana, e rere ana te pākura. And koira te āhua o taua wā tonu e kanikani haka ana ngā patu pai arehe i runga i taua pākura. Koira i rere atu ai ki roto i ngā wai ko nehu o taua wā. Nā, ka rongo e tātou, ko whiti, e whakawhiti ana rātou i runga i te pākura. E haka ana, e ko whiti ana. Hu keri, ko ngā wai tonu, me te āhua nei ke runga i te moana, engari ke runga ke te pākura. Ko taratara, koina, ko aua kupu e whakaatu ana te āhua o te mahi o taua kanikani, taua haka. te kōtaratara. Ko te haka, ko te haka a te patupaia rehe. Nā, te whiti tuarua e mea ana, kope, ara, korere ngā hope, kope, korere ngā hope, kope ko ai e. Nā, ko whakatārua hea te kope ko. Nā, ko whakatārua haere tia e tahi o ngā whakahuahua. Nā reira, he kupu, nā kua no e nā I hanga. Ko tīmata, ko rechi haere rātou, ke te rechi haere runga te pākura, koe nato te rere o te haka. Pūrehu ana, ku ka mohuranga o te ataha, I te ataha. Ko hoki rātou ki te moe. No te mea, kua puta mai te haiata. Ko te pōhoki tēnei mua. Koena, ka whānau tēnā haka. Nā reira, kei te hiringa o te mahara, ngā kōrero, hei tiki atu mātātou. Ko ngā momo haka ki ahua hirei te hiki o ngā reke o ngā waiwai, ne? Koira hoki I roto I te haka te patupaia rehe, hara I te takahia te a tātou haka taparahi, engari, ko te hiki, ko te reo ake, ko te kaue, me te kōrero o ngā whatu, me ngā ringa, me te ihi o te wairu o te tangata, kei reira. Whakaatu hea. Ia kōrero te katoa te tinana. He whakaari tanga o tērā au, o ngā tipua. He mahanga tipua nei, he rere ki e katoa. Ko etahi o ngā tipua nei he kairere. He parirau ki o rātou, ne? Nā reira, I roto I te hōkai, te haka te patupaia rehe, he kairere tērā tipua, patupaia rehe. Etahi he kairere, etahi e hara. Nā kei a mātau te tahi wāhi, ko te ahi a te ātua, kei reira e pupu ake ana mai te whenua, he ahi, ka rewa ngā mura o te ahi. Kei koira te wāhi hui o ngā kāhui tipua nei. He uru kehu etahi, nā ko ngā uru kehu nei, ko ngā makawe, he makawe, he kaura, he rere kia nei, hara I te makawe, wetahi he pākaka ki te āhua. Koira te āhua, wetahi o rātou, he kiri kōtea, he kanohi ko ngā whatu, he kakariki, he pāpura, era āhuatanga, rere kia. Ko ngā uru kehu era, ko ngā ponaturi wetahi noho tō, he tipua noho, ke roto I ngā ana o ngā maunga. Ke roto I ngā paripari e noho mai ana. Ko wetahi ke roto I ngā paukena pirau, ko ki te koe? Kei reira mena koe ka āta titiro, kei reira rātou. Pakpaku noi o nei. E rere mai ana ki waho. Mihi me ka whakarauru koe te noho a te paukena. Ko ki te koe a rātou e hiki mai ana. Koera, ngā hoa. Koera ngai me pāreka reka ki te moko puna. kia rātau e rā mea I te titiro noa I te pau whakata. Nera. Kei roto I ngā awa nā ka kōrerohia, ngā tūna, ngā kōkopu, ngā ika, era momo. Taonga kei roto ke I ngā oa. Kei roto I ngā pūhara keke etahi. Herere ke ki etahi. Ngari.